working. Okie dokie. Let's go back to the PPT. Just let me double check that it's working. You guys are in for a treat. If you're on YouTube watching this, please stick around to the end. You're going to learn some good insights into reorder paragraphs, which is a very, very tricky little task on the PTE. Just let me check this is all good. Cool, looks like it's live streaming on YouTube. Let me pause that. All right, excellent, we're away. Cool, welcome everyone. We're going to focus on PTE reading. We're going to focus on reorder paragraphs, a really tricky reading task in the PTE, but we have a method for you. So let's just have a look at a task overview. I'll describe this task to you. This is what it looks like. This is what you're going to see on test day. Certainly not an easy task. In fact, when I did my PTE, one of these reorder paragraphs was particularly difficult and I got stuck on it because it didn't seem to have the logic of a good paragraph. I actually don't think it was a good paragraph, but anyway, you need a method. So you get some instructions, you get a mixed up paragraph here, you have to put it back together in the right order here using these little buttons. You click next when you have done it. You get 2 or 3 of these on test day. You get 1 point for every correctly aligned sentence. So this paragraph has 5 sentences, right? Let's say you get one of those sentences in the wrong spot. That means another sentence will also be in the wrong spot. It will mean that you will get 3 out of 5, okay? So there's no negative marking, but you just simply don't get marks for the ones that are incorrectly aligned. So the name of the game is to just align these sentences, put that paragraph back together. Time management. How long should you spend on a reorder paragraph? Because in PTE reading, you need to manage your own time. Fast people can do it in about a minute. Slower people, it takes them about 3 minutes. You really don't want to spend any more than 3 minutes per paragraph. 1 minute, you are probably pushing it, and you might be a little bit inaccurate. So again, it's all about balancing accuracy with efficiency. I think ideally you want to spend about 2 minutes on each of these. If you know the method, you should not have to spend more than 2 minutes because it won't be guesswork. You shouldn't be guessing. You should know from the inherent logic in the paragraph and the method. Let's have a look at that method. There are 3 parts, not necessarily steps. The first one is a step. There's definitely step 1. Step 1 is you need to find the independent sentence. Okay? I'll talk you through each of these in a second. And then the second step includes 2 parts where you need to read for sentence flow and you need to use grammar hints. Okay? Let's have a look at each of these parts one by one. So the first step, and it really is the first step, is to find the independent sentence. What does that mean? What's an independent sentence? An independent sentence introduces the paragraph. It introduces the topic of the paragraph. It's often called a topic sentence for that reason because it sits right on top of the paragraph and tells the reader what the paragraph is about. The first sentence of the paragraph is also a complete sentence. If you pulled it out of the paragraph and you showed somebody that sentence, it would make sense to them. It doesn't need other sentences to make sense. It does not refer back to other sentences, okay? So your first sentence is complete, it introduces the topic, and it does not refer back. It's just autonomous, it's independent, you need to find it. So have a look at this paragraph here. It's out of order. I want you to look at it. I want you to eliminate sentences that cannot be the independent sentence. I want you to find the one sentence that stands alone that does not refer back to other sentences. Let me disappear. I'll give you 30 seconds to do this. Cool, excellent. People are getting it in That took you 8 seconds, so that's fantastic. Good, 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 good. I can see the chat lighting up. Yes, yes. Good. All right, you didn't need 30 seconds. You needed 8 seconds. That took you 8 seconds to find that independent sentence. Let's go through each of them and we're going to eliminate them, right? So the first one is impossible because it starts with this. It says, this natural process. Well, that's referring back to another sentence. So it's impossible that that's the first one. The second one, however, bang, we can eliminate that one. What about this third sentence? Lumbering out of the water at night, these herbivores, bang, eliminate it. It's referring back to another sentence. By daybreak, having eaten their fill, they return to their daytime resting. Boom, delete it. We have found our first independent sentence. This is a critical step because if you get that first sentence wrong, all of your other sentences will probably follow on and also be wrong. You need to get this one right. It sits right at the top of the paragraph. And from here, we now move into the next part of the method, which is sentence flow. It incorporates your understanding of subject, verb, object. If you're unfamiliar with subject, verb, object, you need to go to our Core Skills YouTube channel and watch the lectures that I've done on sentence parts of subject, verb, object. You need to understand that concept to then complete the paragraph. Just briefly, it's like this. This is how sentences are constructed in English, a typical sentence. Subject, verb, object. So a common hippopotamus can spend up to 16 hours a day immersed in lakes and rivers. We've got our subject, a common hippopotamus. We've got our verb, can spend, and we've got our object, up to 16 hours a day immersed in lakes and rivers. Here it is here. Let's look at the next sentence. Lumbering out of the water at night, these herbivores graze on tropical grasses and consume 80 to 100 pounds in one meal. By daybreak, having eaten their fill, they return to their daytime resting area to rest, digest, and eventually eliminate. This natural process results in millions of tons of hippo dung entering Africa's aquatic ecosystems every year. However, as distasteful as that might seem, the hippo's deposits actually serve an important ecological function. Each of these sentences has been broken up into subject, verb, object. You need to be able to do that in your mind on test day. I'm going to show you why that's super important. So if we got subject, verb, object, here's the rule. And this is probably the rule that solves the problem for reorder paragraph. The object of the first sentence becomes the subject of the second sentence. The object of the second sentence becomes the subject of the third sentence. The object of the third sentence becomes the subject of the fourth sentence, and so on and so forth. This is how you construct logical flowing paragraphs, because the information that's in the object of the first sentence then moves and becomes the information in the subject of the following sentence, and the object of that sentence goes into the subject of the next sentence. This is how ideas move from one to the other, okay? Here's a very simple example. Of course, in the PTE, it won't be this simple, but this is what I mean here. Yesterday, I saw a massive dog. So there's the object, a massive dog. And you can see that then that becomes the subject of the following sentence. The dog was chasing a cat. A cat, object, becomes subject. The cat was chasing a mouse. A mouse, object, becomes subject. The mouse was chasing a beetle. Object becomes subject. The beetle was running for its life. This is a well-constructed paragraph, although very simple. It follows that rule that I was just talking about. Let's think about this one here in terms of subject, verb, object. Let me disappear. This is the correct order of the paragraphs. Oh, sorry, the correct order of the sentences. Okay. What I've just showed you was very simple. It's never that simple, but the concept remains the same. So let's look at this first one here. A common hippopotamus can spend up to 16 hours a day immersed in rivers and lakes. This is an important part of the object here. Lumbering out of the water at night, you can see that this object becomes this subject, but it's using different words, right? It's using synonyms. And these herbivores graze on tropical grasses and consume 80 to 100 pounds in one meal. One meal. By daybreak, having eaten their fill, you can see how the meal then comes as the object turns into the subject here, or is linked to the subject. They return to their daytime resting area to rest, digest, and eventually eliminate. Eliminate here is a euphemism for, how can I say this nicely? Well, hippopotamus taking a crap, right? So eliminate becomes this natural process. This is a very polite way of saying that, but anyway, eliminate here, the object becomes this natural process in the subject. And here, millions of tons of hippo dung is mentioned here in the subject as the hippo's deposits. So where are we? What am I doing here? Let me move that. So you can see that the connection between the object and the subject of the following sentence. Object, subject, object, subject. Cool. Here it is here. So rivers and lakes becomes the water. One meal becomes having eaten their meal. Eliminate becomes this natural process. Hippo dung, hippo's deposits. Boom. We've just put our paragraph back together again based on our understanding of subject, verb, object, and our ability to understand synonyms, because the word will never be exactly the same in the object and the subject. It will be synonymous. It will be related to it, if not similar, okay? Practice. I want you to use that concept to complete one now. So have a look at this. This is obviously out of order. Find the independent sentence first, then put it back together again. This is the one we just saw, so this should be easy. I'm just going to give you 1 minute to do this. Cool, good. I'm seeing answers already after 20 seconds, so that's fantastic. 30 seconds left. Ten seconds. 3, 2, 1, and stop. Cool, well done. That was easy because you had seen it, but good to get those concepts into your mind, right? So here it is here. We know the answer here. That's fine. Let's do another one. You have not seen this one. This time I'm going to give you 2 minutes. I want you to think about the subject, verb, object. First find the independent sentence, then think about the sentence parts and how they flow from one to the next. Here we go. 2 minutes starts now. Good, you found the independent sentence. Well done. Great. So Sam submitted it at 1 minute. Fantastic. So is Gururaj and Hitesha. So is Abdul and Krishna. Anu, Abhijit. 40 seconds left. Monzarul, well done. Good, Raghuvaran. Divesh, Bella. Ujwal, Tahir. Harinder, excellent. 20 seconds. Three, two, one, and stop. In the exam, you can spend, 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Try not to spend 3 minutes because it does eat into the other time. And if you practice this, you won't need to spend that long. It's hard. You need good practice materials. I must say, you need good practice materials. Some of the stuff I've seen on YouTube is rubbish, is hippopotamus dung, I must say. Come check out e2language.com if you're not sure who we are. Go to www.e2language.com, sign up as a free user, and you'll get some free practice materials, or you can upgrade and get all of it, full access. Cool. Let's check the answers here. So the independent sentence was this. In April last year, billionaire Yuri Milner announced the Breakthrough Starshot Initiative. That was the only sentence that was independent, that stood on its own, that did not need other sentences. It did not refer back to other sentences. Cool. What's the object of this sentence? The Breakthrough Starshot Initiative. I don't know what that is. It's very confusing, but what does it connect to? Well, it connects to this. First of all, you've got Yuri Milner, and then he plans to invest $100 million in the development of an ultralight light sail. Fine. So we've connected 1 and 2. What's the object of this one, and what does the object of this one connect to? Well, it says here, can be accelerated to 20% of the speed of light. The problem of how to slow down this projectile, accelerate, slow down, you can see the object connecting to the subject here. In fact, this is part of the verb, but anyway, it still makes sense. Slow down this projectile once it reaches its target. And what's the object of this one? A challenge. Here's the verb. A challenge connects to the subject here, one solution. And here, what's the object? It's the craft. The craft connects to the subject here, it. So in a way, you don't even really need to understand the meaning of the paragraph overall. You can almost just look at objects and subjects and connect it. But don't do that, because we do want to make sure that it's correct. We do want to read for overall meaning at the end. I'll show you that in a second. Cool. So if you had this order, well done. If you got one of them wrong, it means 2 of your sentences would be wrong, so you would get 3 out of 5. That's still not a bad effort. Well done. Cool. Now we move on from looking at subject, verb, object to looking at grammar hints. Within the paragraph are little words that give away the development, that give away the how the sentences connect to one another. Let's have a look. The first one is articles. Articles like a, an, and the, and also no article. You can use your knowledge of articles to connect sentences to each other. Some grammar words show development. Nouns, the nouns. For example, elephants, the elephants. So the first sentence might just say elephants, no article. Second time elephants plural is mentioned, it will say the elephants. For example, elephants are really big. The elephants in West Africa are the biggest, right? Elephants are really big, no article. The elephants in West Africa, article. What about singular nouns? Here we've got noun S, here we've got single one noun. A noun, the noun. An elephant in Ethiopia recently ran through a village. The elephant ate all the rice in the village. An elephant, the elephant. There you can use articles to connect sentences. So if you're looking at a bunch of scrambled sentences and you see a scientist and then you see the researcher, you know that you can put that one on top of that one. What about this and these? So some grammar words show development. The noun can become this noun because it specifies. It goes from specific to even more specific. For example, the elephant that ate all the rice in the village was captured. This elephant was then released into the jungle, right? Or the nouns become these nouns. Plural, plural. You can see how they connect. For example, the elephants become these elephants. You can also use your understanding of pronouns because pronouns also show development of sentences and a paragraph. So a single noun can become it or its if it's possessive. Nouns becomes they or their. If you're talking about a person, for example, a scientist, it can become he or she. Or it may say something like a person's name, like Dr. Smith, he, or Dr. Smith, she, his and her. Or if it's talking about people, plural, Dr. Smith and Dr. Patrick, I don't know, they and their. Okay, so think about what's first mentioned and what's secondly mentioned. Cool. Also, connecting words, we can eliminate from the independent sentence because if a sentence starts with however, you know that it needs another sentence, so it can't be the independent sentence. Or if a sentence starts with for example, you know that we can't use that one as the independent sentence or in contrast or as a result. Okay? So we can use our understanding of connecting words to think about the development of the paragraph. In addition, we can use our understanding of active and passive sentences. So here it says a scientist devised a solution, fine. And here the solution was devised in 1994. Now, this is active, this is passive. If it were both active, it would say a scientist devised a solution. The scientist devised the solution in 1994. It doesn't sound good. So often what people do is they'll have an active sentence first. They don't want to mention the scientist again because it's irrelevant. So they'll turn it into a passive sentence in the next sentence. The solution was devised by the scientist in 1994. So your understanding of active and passive sentences can help you. Let's practice because we now know that we need to find the independent sentence. We now know that the object becomes the subject of the following sentence or is mentioned or linked in some way. And we also understand that we can use grammar, our understanding of how grammar works, to connect those sentences logically. Let's just look at the one we've already looked at and find just what I want you to do here. I just want you to spend a minute looking at this, thinking about how grammar connects these sentences. So this is the correct order. Think about the nouns turning into pronouns. Think about the singular nouns or being mentioned again. Think about the use of this and these and there, all those sorts of words. So spend 1 minute, see what you can find. See what you can find here. Good. Jugby has found a common hippopotamus and then these herbivores. Excellent. Well done, Shrishna. Yes, good. These, there, they, says Dua. One meal becomes eaten their fill. Excellent. Rivers and lakes becomes water. Good. Natalia's found these, there, this, and however. Good. Malik's found by daybreak. Excellent, because that can't be independent. It's definitely referring back. This natural process. Excellent. Dung becomes deposits. It's like bank deposits. It's a bit strange, but I suppose if you're a zoologist, you need to speak politely about hippo dung. That's one way to do it. Cool. All right, let's have a look. Here are some that I found. So we've got a common hippopotamus and then these herbivores, they, and then the hippos. You can see how the actor, the main character of this paragraph, the hippopotamus, if we're mentioning it again and then again and then again, it transforms from one thing. We don't just say hippopotamus, 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 hippopotamus. We say a common hippopotamus, these herbivores, they, the hippos. Because we need to make our writing interesting, so we'll transform that word into different words that have the same meaning. Cool. Rivers and lakes becomes the water. One meal becomes their fill. Eliminate becomes this natural process, and then again to hippo dung, and then again to deposits. Here we've got aquatic ecosystems and then ecological function. So we can see how these words are connecting throughout. And there's lots of they, their, these critical grammar words that will help you to reconstruct that paragraph. Right, let's recap the method because I'm going to give you 2 practice ones to do. So first of all, find the independent sentence. Read for sentence flow, including subject, verb, object, subject, verb, object. Use your understanding of grammar. Use grammar hints like and the. Let's do some practice. I'll disappear. I'll give you 2 minutes to do this one here. Find the independent sentence first. Cool, so people have found the independent sentence. It's a bit hard with this one because it could be a couple of them. Oh, good, Bim, well done. Got a bit of a problem here because there potentially could be 2 independent sentences. That's going to slow us down. I'm going to give you a hint. The independent sentence is not a. Good, Sheila, yes. Oh, let me give you a better hint. The independent sentence is C. Start your paragraph with C. Cool, I'll give you another 30 seconds. 5 seconds. Cool. Interesting. We found something that sort of threw a spanner in the works there, and that was that there were actually several potential independent sentences. It's a good lesson because this can happen in the PTE where, yes, there may be one or two. Now, I'll show you the answers, then I'm going to show you how you can deal with that. Okay, so the independent sentence here, the only one that works, because then the rest of the sentences can follow on correctly from this, was C. After a busy day, children do need downtime to rest and relax. Okay, if you had A, you can't then pin the rest of the sentences to it because you're going to run into a problem where there just won't be a logical connection. Okay, so let's go through this one. I'll show you what I mean. So C, followed by D. Increasingly, kids' leisure time is spent gaming, but does it detract from homework, or would kids be better off reading a book? You can see downtime, rest and relax, kids' leisure time. Then we connect up this one, historical research, which is A. Historical research shows in some cases that interactive gaming can have positive effects for cognition by promoting memory, attention, and reasoning. We then connect this one. Other speed-oriented games have been shown to improve perception and motor skills. So should gaming for relaxation be encouraged? If you had those ones in that order, well done. That was a particularly hard one. But it leads to an interesting point. And it's probably part of the method, and it's the last thing that you should do. You need to read your paragraph after you've put it together for overall meaning, and there should be no leaps of faith. What do I mean by that? This is a leap of faith. This is when you put two sentences together and they don't quite fit, and you think, oh, I'll just put them together anyway. It will be wrong. If it doesn't make sense in your mind, it's going to be wrong. The sentences have to link logically. There is no gaps between ideas here, okay? So what do I mean by that? Well, here's an example paragraph of those sentences we just saw, but one of the sentences is in the wrong spot. And so what happens is that we create a leap of faith. This one here, for example, the second one is wrong. Let's read it. It says, after a busy day, children do need downtime to rest and relax. So should gaming for relaxation be encouraged? Well, it's kind of a bit of a leap of faith. Why? Because gaming hasn't been mentioned yet. And all of a sudden gaming pops into as the following sentence. And so there's no continuity between the sentences. It's not quite right. And so that's your leap of faith. And this is going to cause problems through the rest of your paragraph. Let's do another one. Thinking about not making any leaps of faith. Thinking about, okay, every sentence has to connect logically. Okay, let me disappear. Let's do this one. Excellent. So people are finding the independent sentence. Maria's already put it back together in 35 seconds. Well done. Sri's put it together in 1 minute. Well done. So is Anil. 20 seconds. I'll give you another 30 seconds just to make sure. Three, 2, 1, and stop. That's 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Probably a good amount of time to, whoopsie, what have I done? Probably a good amount of time to spend on this particular task. Right, independent sentence. Strikes of lightning, fires, wars, ravages of time left their traces on Heidelberg Castle. Good, we've got a very clear object here, okay? And it's also, this was a bit simpler because it was the only possible independent sentence. Today it is considered, no. Now the castle has been reconstructed. No, it starts with now, it doesn't make sense. And it, no. This reconstruction, no. It should take you 10 seconds to find the independent sentence. The problem is when you have several, then you need to start doing some logical gymnastics. Right, but we've got a clear sentence here, clear independent sentence with a clear object, Heidelberg Castle. Today, Heidelberg Castle, is considered one of the most important Renaissance buildings north of the Alps. It could have been C. It could have been C because we've got Heidelberg Castle and then now the castle has been reconstructed. But it's, again, you've got a little bit of a leap of faith there. It hasn't built properly. The meaning hasn't come out naturally there. This is a better sentence. So, strikes of lightning, fires, wars, ravages of time left their traces on Heidelberg Castle. Today, it is considered one of the most important Renaissance buildings north of the Alps. And it is one of the most popular tourist destinations in Germany, with about 1.1 million visitors from all over the world every year, many of them from English-speaking countries and Asia. Now, the castle has been reconstructed as it looked before its destruction by means of a three-dimensional virtual model. This reconstruction contains a wealth of details that by far exceeds that of past reconstructions. I saw a lot of people have D is the final sentence there. But does it really make sense? Does it flow to put this as the final sentence? And it is one of the most popular tourist destinations. Kind of, but it does, but there's a better way to do it, and that's to put D as number 3. Why? Because it follows on from this sentence more logically. Today it's considered one of the most important Renaissance buildings north of the Alps, and it is one of the most popular tourist destinations. That has a better connection. So sometimes we can use the subject, verb, object and it works, and we can use the grammar and it works, but ultimately it comes down to meaning, and it comes down to the best possible sequence of sentences for overall meaning. It's a bit of a trick. Cool. While I've got you here, for free users, do go across to www.e2language.com. Why? Well, we'll help you get to PTE success, but we'll do much more than that because we'll build your language along the way, which will last a lifetime. If you sign up for a paid package, you get a personalized study plan, you get grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation skill building lessons. You get methods for every single PTE test like I've shown you here, but also for retail lecture, for summarized spoken text, for write essay, the whole shebang. Also, lots of practice materials. You get feedback in the form of written feedback for writing and speaking, also one-on-one tutorials with expert teachers like me, and you get to come across to the live mock tests that we have every night of the working week. Cool. Let's go across to Q&A and let me answer some of these questions because I know you've got a million. Right, what have we got? Okay. Okay, so Preet says that in the actual exam, these tasks are relatively easier. I think it's a bit of a mix. Some of the ones that I got were distinctly difficult. So yes, if you're lucky, you'll get some easy ones, but there are some difficult ones floating around. Okay, people are asking about scoring. Again, there are 5 possible ones. You put down your 5, but one's wrong, which means that another one must be wrong. So you get these 2 wrong, so you'll get 3 out of 5. That's how the scoring works. So you get every correctly aligned sentence, you get a point. I should mention that understanding how paragraphs are constructed is not just good to do reordered paragraphs, it's great for your writing. Think about how your sentences flow from one to the next. In your essays, there should be no leaps of faith. There should be no sentences that have a disconnect. All of your sentences should flow from subject, verb, object through right to the very end. So it's a good activity to build your writing skills as well. Bharat's got a question about the length of the sentences. In the actual PTE, are the sentences longer or shorter like this? I'm not sure. I've only taken the PTE once. I think they're probably about this length. You're not going to get huge long sentences. Okay, what else have we got? Yes, Shreyas is concerned about reading in terms of time management. Yes, you need to manage your own time. That's why I was quite strict and I gave you just 2 minutes and 30 seconds for the reorder paragraph. You want to save time for the more difficult ones like multiple choice, multiple answers, and reading and writing fill in the blanks. Taran Deeps has asked, is it always 5 sentences? Sometimes you will get a paragraph with 4 sentences. That makes it way easier. Having the extra sentence makes it harder, but in the PTE there'll be 4 or 5 sentences. People are still worried about scoring. Don't worry so much, just practice. Instead of trying to understand how the PTE is scored, work on your English. That's the best thing to do. Cool, all right, someone's happy about this little lecture. Excellent, Sam's happy. Sri has asked if the PTE sort of calibrates, so if you get a few wrong, does it make it easier? No, it just stays difficult the whole time, I've got to say. Cool, all right, I might call it a day. Excellent, I will see paid users for the speaking live mock test tonight. So see you then, and free users, upgrade. Cool, see you guys. Thanks for that, that was fun.